Never did I imagine that the theater atmosphere of Avengers Endgame could be recreated in a post pandemic world. You had shows starting as early as 4 a.m. in certain states for Spider Man No Way Home. The hype around this film has been unparalleled. People are already estimating that the movie is going to surpass the weekend collections of this year's biggest Bollywood release, Suryavanshi, with absolute ease. My suggestion to you, while you will be listening to a spoiler free review with me, is not to scroll down, as the movie experience is definitely going to get ruined in the comments below, because you know the TRP comment section often transitions to become a hot debating forum regarding the film, so tread carefully. I will only be referring to the trailer that all of us have seen for context and will not be giving away anything else with this piece. We join Peter Parker after Spider-Man Far From Home, where he was in active combat with Mysterio in London. As Mysterio has a way with manipulating information, he spins the narrative as being victim and for Spider-Man to be public enemy. As his identity is revealed, Peter experiences a lot of flack from the general public, but especially feels trapped as his most loved ones, namely MJ, Ned and Aunt May, are being questioned and investigated due to his doing. When he approaches Doctor Strange to possibly eliminate the event when Spider-Man's identity became public knowledge, he casts a spell, and due to Peter's own moral dilemma, this leads to several gaping holes in the multiverse, transitioning to some of the most iconic villains from the Spider-Man universe over the years, causing menace in Peter's life. What transpires later as the solution in combating these villains forms the basic storyline of Spider-Man No Way Home. There literally is no way you're not going to watch this film in theaters, so let's just get to brass tacks and talk about the good and bad aspects of this film. The underwhelming aspects. The Marvel format. I have minor gripes with this film, and this is also me sinking my teeth into the narrative and digging for hiccups, which was otherwise such a seamless and fun ride to witness. I don't know whether Marvel and production companies are instructed to follow particular beats in the screenplay of the film, but it's almost as if for every 5 to 7 minutes, the creators feel the need to integrate gags in the film. I especially felt this in the second half of the movie, where things get really intense. It's almost as if the creators are itching to tell a joke while the stakes are dramatic, as if the audience will get bored otherwise. Some of those emotional moments are impactful enough, and if the creators just let them sit with the audience, I think its impact would be far greater than resorting to a throwaway joke that breaks the possible tension. I don't know whether this is a format thing or just a Marvel vibe thing, but it is something that stood out for me. I also felt that this Spider-Man especially was really dimly lit. A lot of the dialogues that are being delivered wherein the characters interact with one another are in covert locations, hence the dingy setup. But through some of the moments, especially with my IMAX glasses on, sometimes I had to squint my eyes to understand who is being addressed and what was exactly happening in the movement of characters during the penultimate action sequence. Lastly, I will say that there are certain moments where I just did not buy the ability of individuals to out of nowhere, like a magic trick out of their hat, showcase something that they have an ability for that was either not plausible or just seemed convenient. You'll know what I'm talking about. This sense of convenience is especially true for the duo of Ned and MJ and how they help Peter, and a moment of combat that involved Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. I won't say anything else. Now let's get to why I had an absolute ball while watching this movie. The good. The action. The action choreography of this film is something to marvel at. I'll get one doubt out of the way immediately, as most Marvel fans especially become annoyed of the same through many of its films. As you know, when our lovely superheroes in Marvel movies fight the bad guy in the concluding moments, there is a common theme of an incoherent and long-drawn action sequence. This was one of the few times where I was absolutely invested in the battle in the concluding moments. This is not only due to the execution of the brilliant CGI and visual effects, but the integration of so many characters balanced almost with such crazy precision that you will just not look away from the screen. The highway action sequence against Doc Ock, a glimpse of which you saw in the trailer, and a chase and combat moment between Spider-Man and Doctor Strange in the mirror dimension is pure cinematic gold. It would absolutely be criminal not to watch this film in a theater, especially on IMAX. The writing. What absolutely boggles my mind regarding this film is the almost perfect screenplay designed by Chris McKenna and Eric Sommers. What I feared as I watched the trailer of the movie was that this is just too much on the plate of the creators for one film. A glitch in the multiverse that leads to the appearance of villains in the Spider-Man universe that goes all the way back to Sam Raimi's 2002 film. That's a crazy task to integrate as well as design for it to be a cohesive piece all around. But this film walks on a thin tightrope with such skill. I marveled at the fact that it did not go either way and stayed bang in the center, not being too indulgent for the fans where it was detrimental to the story, and at the same time was so self-aware and understood that this is a solo Spider-Man movie. What I genuinely experienced while watching Tom Holland's Spider-Mans, at least the first two, is that there was this constant pressure for the narrative to make sense from the perspective of the cinematic universe. But this is the first time out of the three films where I felt that it was a genuine Spider-Man film, focusing on his world and the people around him. It's almost as if the conclusion of Endgame and Tony Stark gave wings for the Spider-Man universe to breathe, and this is essentially what you will experience while watching this movie. Fan service versus purpose. Again, as I previously said, I thought that the task was too overwhelming, but my god was I proven wrong. This has to be my most enjoyable experience watching a movie in a theater post the pandemic. A morning 9 AM show packed with Marvel fans roaring at every single callback that the writing has. The Marvel cinematic fanbase has a connection that is tough to compete with. It's as simple as that. It's as if the creators through this film exactly recognized that, and with each punchline gave us something to remember or hoot at for the cinematic journey we have had with this character for close to 20 years. With respect to the villains appearing in the film, most of the heavy lifting is done by Green Goblin, Doc Ock and Electrode. I was also looking from a distance and just thinking, just look at the crazy cast that they have got together and made this project a reality, something fans could only dream of a few years ago. Jamie Foxx in this film as a cameo appearance has been fleshed out far better than what was a fully fledged role in the Amazing Spider-Man film. Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus also shines. I won't lie, as there are so many villains, the others definitely take a backseat, but it never really becomes overwhelming or indulgent. From a storytelling point of view, it is all cohesive and beautifully fleshed out. The fan service in this film is such that you will be shouting at every callback through the film's narrative, but it never compromises the film's storytelling. Tom Holland for me is just a brilliant actor in general. I think he brings the much needed innocence that is required for the role of Peter Parker, but more than that, it is the emotional moments and the moral dilemma that he goes through in this film where he shines. His camaraderie with Ned, his affection for MJ and his love for Aunt May all culminate in making him go through tough decisions, and this turmoil within him is expressed beautifully by the actor. Trust me, this may go hands down as your favorite theater experience post the pandemic. And if you see this weekend, it will promise you a crazy atmosphere as well, because Marvel fans together honestly just turn cinemas into stadiums. And that was a video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about the movie. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.